Google, and I say Google ahead of OpenAI, even though OpenAI is at the start of this news story as well. But Google's antitrust trial is, would you call it the punishments phase? I don't know. It's kind of like how can we punish you, Google?
The woodshed phase, yeah.
Yes, exactly. The company was found guilty of unlawful practices in online search and advertising in the U.S. And as a result, the Department of Justice has recommended, I kind of feel like it's not going to happen, but has recommended that Google, if we get our way, Google's going to have to unload Chrome. They're going to have to find a new owner for Chrome. And it sounds like OpenAI has an executive that testified at the trial, hey, we'd be interested. We'd be down. That's Nick Turley, head of product, who testified that the company would be interested in owning Chrome. Just saying, if you're selling it, we'd certainly be interested in owning it. What do you think about that, Jeff?
It's a stunt. It's just like Perplexity saying they're going to buy TikTok. It's now the way to punish everybody is to make them sell something, and then everybody jumps up and says, "Oh, I'll buy it." And it's a kind of ridiculous story cycle that we're in now. And OpenAI, I trust Google with Chrome a lot more than I would trust OpenAI, period. B, I think it's a stunt. I think it's just for but it worked. Publicity all over. We're doing it right now, but we're doing that because it was in the news all over. And so that's where it is. And C, I wonder what the real value is to OpenAI. Sure, it could insert itself in that browser, but hello, antitrust, just the same problem that it tries to fix. Then it's even worse because the company will use it for its own purposes and not allow others in. Google has always allowed others in.
But that's a 20-year problem, Jeff. That's 20 years from now when they finally say, oh, actually, that was a bad idea 20 years ago.
Yeah, well, just like Microsoft and the browser in the past.
Yes.
My browsers have been such a focal point because I think they're our main entry into. I remember many years ago, at the beginning of the web, my son, we ran focus groups when I worked for Advanced Publications in Cleveland, and the people in the focus group said, there's this amazing thing on this online. It just has everything. It has the weather, it has sports, it has news, it has fun. What's that? It's called Netscape. And we've seen for a long time people don't understand the brands that underlie the web and everything else. I think that's probably less the case now. But I think there's this kind of naive view among both regulators and media that the browser is everything. Whether it was Microsoft or whether it's now Chrome. So it seems like a kind of a silly moment in all of this. And it's serious stuff going on with Google. Absolutely. I see that Chris in the questions asked whether Google could make another browser. I don't know because there is no decision yet whether this is actually going to be the path. It was a recommendation. And I don't know what limitations there might be. But once again, I would trust Google more than I would trust OpenAI. And, what does it do to all the rest of the services? The browser is key to everything we use, to email and docs and Drive and maybe not Maps, Translate. All these services we use are out of this hub of the browser. And if you try to split that off, it's like saying the phone company can own the handset, but somebody else has to own the phone. For those of you who remember the old days where those were two different parts, I'm sorry, I just dated myself.
And there was a wire that went into the wall.
Yeah, curly cord on it too. For you kids, I'll show you in my Jeff's museum later.
Well, I think what you were just talking about kind of illustrates both sides of it. You're kind of saying the browser, like. It's long been seen as this very, very important thing, but I don't know that that's really, maybe the case anymore. Maybe I'm getting, your words mixed up a little bit, but also it is really important, and we do channel and funnel so much through it. And so I can see why a company like OpenAI might love to have Chrome as their kind of anchor for, especially when we're talking about the agentic AI ambitions, to have a browser that you can just then completely connects your AI service and all of those agentic qualities directly into, Perplexity has its Comet browser that it's doing this. I think Perplexity would be another, kind of interesting party to want to own it. I don't think that they've explicitly said, hey, we'd be interested, but I wouldn't be surprised if they do. And nor do I think any of it matters, because I think at the end of the day, Google's not going to have to sell Chrome. That's my hunch. That would be to your point, the kind of tangled web of everything that is connected that would interplay in that move seems like a lot. And I know that the DOJ in a case like this, at least my recent understanding of this, is that they shoot for the moon, and often they end up somewhere in between where it was and where they're shooting for. And I don't think that place in between necessarily means Google has to get rid of Chrome. But
yeah, it's an entirely different DOJ than it was when this case was brought. So who knows what that'll mean in the long run. They're continuing on the theme that they had of Google bad, but we'll see. But you raised two other points that I think are really interesting, Jason. And one argues with the other. The one is that there's finally competition in browsers, right? Perplexity is going to create a browser, and they have reason to do so. And if OpenAI is hungering after browsers, it could make one. It wouldn't cost them much at all. It's trivial. So on the one hand, just as the argument is that this is anti-competitive and we have to pull it away from Google, there's competition. The other contrary argument is that we talk a lot about whether a generative AI replaces search. What if it replaces the browser? What if agentic AI replaces the browser in essence? And it makes the browser far less important because your pathway to applications and to information and to functions is going to be otherwise. It's going to be through command structures, new command structures, voice, and so on and so forth. Whether that happens or not, we can predict, till the cows come home.
Yeah.
But the idea that the browser, it's exactly the same as the Microsoft fight. The browser was the key to everything. And then it wasn't for Microsoft. They lost the browser war. There was competition, and there's competition still. So, yeah, I want to agree with you that I don't think they'll be forced to do this. These days, I can't predict anything.
Yeah.
But the other thing that obviously bothers me is I'm a Chromebook guy. Right? And what does it mean to sell Chrome apart from, is that the browser alone? Is that the OS? What does that really mean?
Yeah. Good question. Good.
How's that? Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
No. I want to hear what you had to say.
Just one other thing is the other day, it just occurred to me, when Google originally, you used to go to google.com and there was the blank on the page and you type that in, right? And when Google went to what's it called, Jason? The one bar or the one whatever?
Yeah. When the
address bar became everything, right? It was confusing. It confused me for about a week. Oh, was that an address bar? Is that where I go to put things in? And when I would go to the Google search page, it would go ahead and put it up into there to train me.
Yep.
And say, this is where you're doing everything. Omnibox, thank you.
Omnibox.
Well, so the Omnibox, the browser is not just a browser. The Omnibox is the path to all kinds of functionality. So anyway, I just the browser is a fungible beast now.
When's the last time I went to a Google search page and clicked on the search area in the middle of the page and put my search in there?
Right.
Like it happens very rarely and randomly. It's and I couldn't even tell you what is the circumstance that takes me there, but everything that I do is in that Omnibox. I mean, and what you're saying also really reminds me of the conversation that I had at Mobile World Congress with Google's Android head Samir Samat, when we were talking about a post-app world where agentic AI becomes, so prevalent. Is there a need for apps? Is there a need for applications when agentic AI can just kind of go to the places it needs to go to do the things? And I think Sumir's point was also, appropriate and spot on, which is that even in that world, there is still a need for companies, for brands, for destinations to have some sort of a kind of a place to go, or maybe they've got a brand that they want to convey, and that's how you do it. Like the agentic AI can do those things, but it might not necessarily mean that we don't have those other things as well, because they also serve other purposes too. So I don't know.
Yep.
I do see, if obviously this was a publicity stunt on OpenAI's side to gain more of the oxygen from the PR room, which it's very good at doing. But no matter what, OpenAI guaranteed going to do the browser thing. I guarantee you they're working on it behind the scenes already.
And it's got to be trivial. In fact, tell OpenAI, tell the browser, tell the chat to make the browser software.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's fairly trivial, I think.
Well, yeah, and I guess what's coming to me right now also is that there's some overlap here between like how necessary is it to AI to have its own browser, in the same way that how necessary is it to AI to have its own piece of hardware like a Rabbit R1 or whatever. It's everybody's looking for these different ways to make it make it more of an immediate utility, and it seems to be doing all right in the form that it is right now. But gotta explore it.
I think we should pay tribute to the browser was a paradigmatic shift. I was working at Delphi for one horrible month, which was Delphi Internet, before I got the hell out.
Remember that.
And they were going to have a GUI because everybody had a GUI, right? There was AOL and Prodigy and so on, and you had to have your graphical user interface. And then I remember the day when somebody came in and said, "You got to see this thing," and it was the browser, the first crude blue browser. But it immediately said that changes everything. That's a pathway to things. And that's what a browser is. It's not a program in and of itself. It's just a way to get to stuff.